President Trump. In Missouri, there
Okay,
were water
so all you're really gonna do is catch me, catch them. That's pretty much it.
Right there. That's it.
Catch me, catch them. Now I gotta plug my headphones in. I'm going on in a minute. We're gonna need to go get them in a minute. There's no changing the schedule. It goes when it goes. We're winging it.
No. We want to push this. This is not connected to nothing, right?
It's connected to that laptop. Look. Look at the laptop. We're gonna need to go get them in a minute. There's no changing the schedule. It goes when it goes. We're winging it.
There's a delay. Yep.
With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust. There's nothing like meeting face to face, and there's nothing like Zoom to make that happen.
Okay.
Zoom lets you connect to do business across town or around the world.
Everything is picking up off this microphone here. All right, so
for video conferencing.
no, I wish I had that monitor there. I put it right next to it. Well, how's that for screwing myself today?
Well, it's going to be picking up on because the monitor is going to
Right.
it's going to cut out as soon as you turn the mics on.
Huh? Yeah. Hey, Ray, you don't mind if I use your headphones, do you? Because I'm afraid the battery's going to die on these because these are my Bluetooth headphones. And even when plugged in, it still uses battery power, which is dumber than anything I've heard in my life.
At Walgreens, we are your diabetes.
Oh, plus yours are way better.
Stop by and talk to your pharmacist today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
Okay, so that's only 2 changes.
Okay, we're going to be going on Steelers will play.
Uh-oh, shorting out. Yeah. Got it. Right here, is this me?
Yeah, this is going to be you.
Shit. I'm going to have to come over the other side.
Yeah,
then.
that's fine. So we got 2 minutes.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. Exclusions apply.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK? The LASIK Vision Institute.
Turn up just a little bit more.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK? You can.
When I'm
LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free.
How many minutes yet? 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Well, are you going to introduce the band right away? Are you going to introduce? You want them in here now?
Let's
The band?
Yeah, but have them come on in and kind of get situated while we're getting started. But yeah, I'm not going to introduce them right away. But
Okay, because we're going to go to break first, then introduce them.
Yep.
Now, you have a position where Betsy's going to be, or
wherever she wants.
Okay. Okay, for the camera wise.
One man's trash is another man's treasure. In the weekend of June 21st, 22nd, 23rd, you find a lot of treasures at St. Mark's Parish annual rummage sale. There'll be plant sale, bake sale, and new sessions available. Runs 9 to 6 on Friday, June 21st, 9 to 3 Saturday, June 22nd, and 1 to 4 on Sunday, June 23rd. Come out to St. Mark's Parish, 7117 14th Avenue in Kenosha. For all the details and to get your event on the community calendar, go to WLIP.com.
Sit anywhere you got.
50 WLIP Kenosha County radar weather. Sponsored by.
Feel comfortable.
Tax resolution. Don't get frantic. Get frantic. Delinquent taxes. Bank levies.
It's live right now on YouTube on GetRealWithRalph.com, but the sound won't carry through completely. If you guys wanted to share that out on social media or whatever.
Do you want?
We're going to do I'm going to talk for about 15 minutes. We're going to go to a break. Then I'm going to introduce you guys.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So we still got 15 minutes or so.
Still got a little time.
15 minutes or so. Yeah. Just.
Yeah.
I don't have in and out.
Your mics are not hot right
Oh,
now.
okay.
So I understand.
Here we go.
Good evening and welcome to Get Real with Ralph. I am your humble host, Ralph Nudi, coming to you live tonight from the studios of WLIP 1050 AM in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and simulcast live from Kenosha, Wisconsin to the Canary Islands and everywhere across the world by tuning into our YouTube channel. Simply go to getrealwithralph.com. That's getrealwithralph.com. You ever feel stuck in the middle? So here I am doing this live for the first time. Some may say I have a face for radio or a voice for newspaper, but let me tell you this. I am real. And I tend to get real on the issues of the day that affect us locally, nationally, and globally. Being real means marching to the beat of my own thoughts and feelings, telling you, my audience, how I really feel, and not just passing those thoughts and feelings through the filter of any particular political view or ideology. Ladies and gentlemen, our thoughts have been hijacked. The speech we hear today is all too often well-orchestrated propaganda designed to influence how we feel. Now, as human beings, we are all naturally susceptible to groupthink. And it really doesn't matter which end of the ideological or political spectrum that the groupthink comes from. When we fall into it and we stop thinking for ourselves, we become moldable. We become cattle. And the battle for our hearts and minds that has been going on since before the Dark Ages wages on. If you are fully indoctrinated into groupthink, regardless which side that you fall on, you're going to be offended by some of the things that I say. You're not going to like some of the things that I have to say. But wouldn't it be great to disagree with people and not hate them anymore? I mean, that's where we've gone here in the last 10, 15 years is we have to hate everybody we disagree with. And that's exactly what the powers that be want from us. They want us to get focused on the little issues that tear us apart instead of the 90% of the issues in life that we all agree on. That we love our families, we love our communities, we love our country, and we just want to live our lives and pursue happiness. So if we can start to disagree with each other, but not dislike one another, hate one another, we're going to be a lot better off. Because hate is needed in order to control thoughts and minds. Well, I reject that thought, and I reject the notion that I have to accept one set of beliefs to completely fit in. So I want to bring you love. I want to bring you the truth, and I want you to take a break this evening for a couple of hours while we all talk, think, laugh together. I want you to take a break and be entertained, and I want you to get as real with me as I promised to get with you. So let's get real. Well, good evening again, and tonight I have some very special guests with me. I have Betsy Aid and the Well-Known Strangers, who are here in town. They just played a show on Friday night at 58 Below, and I had an opportunity to chat with them in the green room before they came out, and I asked them if they would come on the show tonight, not only to talk about their musical experiences, but also to talk about a subject that I found out is as near and dear to their hearts as is to mine, and we're going to get into that in just a few minutes, right after this break. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Cool.
What are you talking about again?
Names. You guys ready to go hot now? So we got Betsy,
Cameron.
Betsy, I'm gonna introduce you and have you introduce everybody else so I don't screw it up. Is that okay? All right, perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Nice bailout.
That did sound pretty good, didn't it?
That did sound pretty good.
Top of the hour. We'll do voices and then
For more information or to get your event on the community calendar, go to WLIP.com. Get out and make it another great long Kenosha Memorial
So let's
Day weekend.
come off with one of their songs. I don't care which one.
It's an old commercial. Oops. That's right. You wanted me to come out with what?
Yeah. Come out with one of their commercials for bumper music for just a couple minutes.
Yeah, okay. Let me get back to what we're doing here. How about this one here?
Okay, that's fine. That'll work.
That's fine. I just don't have a lot of
Yep.
time to do it.
It's another truncated week of dinner and a movie and a whole lot more. It's Bill. We're back Tuesday, 5 till 8. Wake up, Kenosha. AM 1050 WLIP.
So you said it was streaming?
It's coming. You guys have a quiet intro on the song?
Is it playing?
Yay.
Is it playing now? I don't hear it.
For some reason, it's not playing. Go ahead and talk.
Okay, well, we're going to come in with a little bit of music, and of course, this is our maiden episode here, so you're going to have to forgive us if I screw up a few things over here on the board.
Sorry.
But we have in the studio today with us Betsy Aid and the Well-Known Strangers. Betsy, welcome to the studio. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. So we're going to make sure you're hot here. All right, say that again. Say something to me, Betsy.
Yeah, let's start over.
All right, we are going to start over. That's how we do it.
Go.
All right, Betsy, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I'll tell you, the last few months of your life has been an absolute whirlwind, hasn't it?
Yes, it sure has.
It's been a whirlwind just to watch. You've got a couple of your band members here in the studio with us. Why don't you let us know who you have with us and how they fit into the big picture?
Sure. Okay, so directly to my left, I have Cameron Fair, who plays the cello and the piano. To his left, we have Brittany Lumley, who plays the cello and the guitar and sings beautifully. To her left, we have Joe. Not you, but you can. Oh yeah, we are.
That's all right. Well, most of the people are listening, but yeah, go ahead.
So Joe Adamek, he plays the guitar. He's a acoustic guitar player. Also helps write the music. And behind him, we have John Koulis. He plays the bass. And then we also
He looks like a bass player. He's got that that demeanor about him right there.
Yes, yes. He is the typical bass. All of the things about the bass player.
The slow and steady hand of reason among the band.
That's right.
I gotcha.
Yes,
Well, you have two of those because you got your manager back behind you there too, Victor. Yeah.
Victor Sierra.
All right.
Us.
Gotcha.
He's waiting to chat with us a little bit.
Absolutely. All right. Well, fantastic. So you've been on the music scene in Kenosha for quite a while. I know I had seen you play. Gosh, it was a while back with was it Rainy Day Crush?
Rainy Day Crush. Yeah.
Gotcha. That was the only time that I ever actually heard you play live until 2 nights ago. But I all of a sudden was looking and I noticed that we had a local Kenosha resident who was going to be on The Voice, and I started paying attention. And boy, I have to say you nailed it from the first one all the way to the end. Thank you. How much preparation time did that take, and how different was that from playing with a band that you've played with regularly, having to play with a house band, so to speak, and do it all on your own?
You're talking about the house band for The Voice?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, they're a complete professional. So they
not to say that these guys aren't,
right,
of course. Yeah.
Oh, that's not what
right.
I mean,
No. I'm just giving you a hard time.
So they are. They've been doing it for 16 seasons. They've been all together for that long. There's a band leader. His name is Paul. That one of our management members knows. He's the leader, so he kind of constructs he takes over the band practice that we have. So, I mean, they learn songs within a matter of seconds. So it's just like, I'm sure the first song that I got up there and practice with them, they didn't really know. Maybe they reviewed a little bit, but they worked some stuff out, and bam, they were ready to go. And what I heard the first time I practiced with them is very similar to what you heard on TV. So and it was fantastic. And your audition song was hold on, you're gonna have to refresh my memory. Hunger, yes. Florence and the Machine. Yes, and I have to say, no offense to Florence, but I liked your version of it better, both on the audition and when you played it with Well-Known Strangers on Friday night. I thought it had a lot more feeling to it. What made you choose that song? Well, I had never heard it before. So the beginning of the process, they send you 600 songs to choose 20 of. And I knew that I loved Florence. So I picked the one Florence song that was on the list of 600. And I listened to it a couple times, and I studied the words. I wanted to make sure that it resonated with me. The message of the song resonated with me, because that's when I do my best work, is when I believe in what I'm singing. So it was near and dear to my heart. It was a wonderfully written tune. I don't know if you know much about Florence, but she just has this really unique style. I was out there with a bunch of kids, and I had to make sure that I, thought a little maybe deeper about some things, and I had to do something maybe a little bit different than any like kind of a pop song. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You had to put your own personality into it, and personality and soul becomes so much more important for us, when we're trying to go up against some of these kids here, where they've got that pure energy on their side that's a little different. Yeah, and so you got to have.
They got they got the style. They're the cool kids, and I'm like, Mom. In the twilight of her career, and I had to pull out all the stops. The guitar throwing.
I wouldn't say twilight of your career in any way, shape, or form. I would say that, you got there earlier in life than Colonel Sanders, so I mean that's true. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be the best part.
It is the best part. The excitement on your boy's face. I'll tell you what, when John Legend spun around. And you could see him just jumping up and down. I've got 6 of my own children, and when I love it when they're that age and they still love you, because I tell you what, when they're about 16, they hate your guts. So you definitely need to enjoy that. But I saw that excitement of him jumping up and down, and I thought, I identified with that immediately. Identified with my kids getting excited about some of the things that I do. And of course, when you're a parent and you're still cool because they're young enough, you can do no wrong in their eyes.
Yeah, well, I do some wrong. He shows me some of these times. But most definitely, it was a lot of preparation. There's a lot of going back and forth, and a lot of nervous excitement. I think my family is just as, if not more, excited about this whole experience as I am. And I think it was all of the work and all of the worry. It made it worth it when that first chair turned, and you saw it all over Talon's face. He's actually gotten quite Kenosha famous about it. He's got his first newspaper interview under his belt. And
that's a fantastic term, Kenosha famous. I'm going to steal that term from you and use it. I'm going to use it a lot. Yeah, well, Kenosha famous isn't famous, and we have to, sometimes you got to keep that perspective. It's like being, it's like being a big guppy in a fishbowl. So I guess we're well. If I'm a guppy, you've turned into a shark, though. I got to say, it's getting this national attention, and it's well-deserved attention as well. So you jump in, and here you are singing with a very professional house band, but that's got to be a lot like Tom Brady playing on the All-Star team as opposed to playing on the Patriots, because you don't have your go-to person that they know you well enough to know how to kind of step in and make you look good in a moment of weakness and all of that. So was that like walking on a high wire without safety ropes, or what was that like?
I mean, it was wonderful. It was, I just kind of had, when you go out there and you audition, like from the beginning of your experience, they take such good care of you. And so I really wasn't, I mean, they make sure that you are prepared for that 2.5 minutes or 3-minute song that you are going to be performing for on national TV. They know the pressure that you're feeling. And so they rally the troops. They make sure that you are both taken care of as far as like what you need to prepare for. They keep you updated on like the scheduling. We've got a schedule every day. They give you a great vocal coach. They make sure they give you advice as to how to take care of your voice, and they encourage you to rest and everything. So I mean, it was wonderful. It wasn't like every single contestant that was on that show was taken care of, just like they would, in my opinion, would take care of any other person who's performing professionally.
How about the behind the scenes drama with all the kiddies? Were they? Did you find it to be amusing?
Well, the first few times that I went out there, I tried to keep to myself a little bit, just because I remember how I was a little when I was younger, and I got involved, and like I wanted to know about everybody and who is doing this and who's, I wanted to know about the rules and whatever. I kept to myself and made sure that I did all of that I needed to do to prepare. And but the last few times I went out, it was a little less pressure. Like the last time for the finale,
Sure.
there was very little pressure, and it was like, performing with my band. It was like, yeah, I got some people to play around with, it was really good. It was cool.
And it ended up being a really good thing for the Well-Known Strangers, because now they've got a front person that's going to follow and hear all this amazing music that you guys have written together that a lot of people wouldn't have been exposed to had the voice not exposed you to the rest of the world. I'd love to hear from your bandmates. How did that feel watching Betsy kind of make that milestone, and how did that reflect back on all of you?
We, from the get-go, the whole process took quite a while, like almost a year.
Yeah.
Was it?
The
very first audition in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
You were there with me.
Yeah, I got a chance to actually perform with her, and the minute we heard that she was going to keep moving on, all of us are excited. I mean, all of us were ready to put down our instruments as far as Well-Known Strangers go for the rest of our life, if it meant success for her. So we were sitting back doing as much as we could to cheer her on, and super excited to see what she was doing. And then as things kept going, we're like, okay, let's maybe start practicing a little bit and get ready for her to come back. And after this is done, this could be really, really big for us. But we've had a great run so far, and now we're looking forward to an amazing run this year and going into next year.
Well, you guys really have the songwriting down first and foremost, and your songs have a lot of soul, a lot of passion in them. Every single one of them I've listened to, and I've spent a lot more time lately listening to them than before. Before I kind of casually heard them, but obviously once I saw what was going on here, I wanted to know more, and I can see some chemistry, and I saw that live between all of you on Friday night. That was just incredible. That acoustic set that you pulled away from and went and sat on the bar.
Yeah.
That was something special. That really was.
Yeah, that was kind of something that we were really nervous about, and we weren't sure that it was going to work. And the closer it got to the day, I think the more nervous we got, because we did a rehearsal that Wednesday. We usually practice Wednesdays and Saturdays, sometimes Mondays, but so for our practice on Wednesday, we went to 58 Below, and we tried it out. And there was maybe 20 people there.
Yeah.
And the sound gets sucked in. The more people that arrive, the sound kind of goes away. And we weren't sure if it was going to work. And we were still nervous even when we started walking off over to the bar. And the plan was to just kind of run through it a couple times, just do a little instrumental and wait for people to settle in. And they did it. Like I was just so proud.
You got an entire bar full of drunks to be quiet. I mean, that's
yeah, it's unheard of.
And we really didn't. We didn't have to say anything. Everybody else kind of quieted the crowd, which was awesome. And
you just kept playing those opening chords over and over again.
Yeah.
And it got a little quieter, and in the very end there, you had a couple of people still talking. A lot of people very angry at them for not shutting their mouths. And it was a lot of fun. Now, what was the first song that you did up there?
That was a Billie Eilish song called "Come Out and Play."
Got it.
Yeah. So that was I think we got the most people to stop
Yeah,
and listen to
yeah.
that. So yeah, it worked out great. I hope we can do it again. I'm not sure that we have to be careful, because everybody at that show was family members and very close friends and people who are were waiting to listen to us, and they're just like hungry for a show from us. So I think that it allowed for a lot more freedom to experiment with things. But I'd like to continue and try to do that again. I love when people do it, and I have a hard time asking people to not talk. I'm not a big advocate of like, you can do what you want at an open establishment.
And that's basically what you said. But
yeah.
What you said is, hey, you can talk if you want, but you're not going to be able to hear this.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a really good way of putting it. Yeah. But it just made the music so much more intimate.
Yeah.
It made it more, lot of times you go to a bar, there's a band playing, you don't know who they are. Of course, everybody knew who you were this time because it was like coming home. But if you're playing in a new venue, I'm sure that's why you tried it at home first. And you just it's background noise. You're not paying attention until something like that happens. And I think that's going to play well in venues where the audience doesn't know you as well, because it forces them to really just stop and listen to the music for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of I think our best shows over the last 3 years have been our acoustic, like storytellers shows, whether it was at Fusion or up in Barron. We played at the Barron Community Center there, where just you could hear a pin drop, and just people were listening to every note, every word.
It's definitely not something we're really used to, because we're used to people talking and you know, so when it happens, we're like, okay, now I have to
well, and of course you're going to talk about the music and you know, your storytelling, and your music is amazing when it comes to telling stories. One of the songs that really drew me in, and I'm going to play for the audience here in a minute, is Don't Follow. And I saw the video for it when you went on The Voice, and I started Googling Betsy Aid. What's going on here? Who is this lady? What's her music like? And that was one of the first things that I saw, was that video. As a matter of fact, I got that confused with Voices when I was talking with your manager the other day as far as which video was which. But you know, they're both pretty well put together. But the story behind Don't Follow, what is the story behind it? You want to tell our audience a little bit about what it's about, and then I'd like them to hear a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think I'm going to let Joe. He came up with the initial concept for the video, and I think even when we started writing the song, that was your idea, your concept for the song too. So yeah, go ahead.
It's just a bad time in my life, and I guess the best way to say it was, I felt like I was living a fake life almost. I had a lot of people that that just felt good about our friendship and just felt good about me, but yet I felt like I was not who they thought I was. And I kind of wanted to push everybody away. So that was a period of my life where I just needed to kind of just have some distance and really find myself. So I brought the notes and some of the thoughts and words to Betsy. And then like she always does, if it starts that way, she takes it to a whole nother level, kind of grabs a hold of whatever it meant for me. And then she'll, like she just mentioned a minute ago or a few minutes ago, that it's so important for her to own the words and feel the words. So it's really great when she can take anything that I've written or any of us, and she just transforms it into something that means something for her.
Yeah, and that's we started a pretty great writing relationship right off the bat. I think we've been through many similar situations, and I think we're like-minded. And
but the best music is written right after life tends to punch you in the gut. It seems to be, you know, first it ends up being your source of agony, and then it ends up being your source of inspiration. And you can tell that this is a very inspired song. And with that, I would like to roll a couple of seconds of the well-known Strangers, Don't Follow.
All right, mics are off.
Every time hey guys, as nervous as I am.
This is your debut, huh?
Yeah, we're like losing our virginity together on AM radio.
I love it. I love it.
I was going to say that on the air. I'm like, yeah, I better not do that first time.
Do you want to sit here? I'll switch with you. There's no reason for me to always chat. All these interviews we go to, it's on Betsy and I. Okay. And then whenever you do want to go to the acoustic, like us to get our instruments.
Yep, I figure we'll like talk for a few more minutes about this. Then what's one that you would want to bring up? What is one that's near and dear besides Voices? Because we're going to save that for the beginning of the next hour.
Or just to talk about it.
To talk about, and I'll probably play a few minutes of it. I love Revolution.
Our new album.
The one about splitting us apart, Splinter. Oh my gosh. I want to know the story behind that, but I know you're not going to tell me the real story. Is that about someone trying to split the band up?
The real story, but we won't name drop.
Is that someone trying to split the band up?
No, split my relationship up.
Ah,
That's where it started with.
I definitely want to talk about Splinter because I love that one. I saw that. I felt that one. I really did.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was.
But it could
There's a
translate.
lot of darkness with the stuff I write because I've been punched in the gut a lot, and deservedly so sometimes. So, yeah.
What's your brightest song? What is your most? Would you say your most uplifting song?
Aligned, probably.
Aligned. All right. So we'll talk about Splinter, then we'll talk about Aligned, and then that way we leave this half hour with something happy. Well, then you guys can play, and then after the top of the hour, that's where we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Human
So we're going
Trafficking.
to take a break. Then they're going to play, give them a chance to set up a little bit with their instruments.
Yeah, we'll come back here. We'll talk about one more.
Right.
Then we'll take a break. Then we'll come back with instruments.
Perfect.
Sound good?
Sounds good. I'll add some time to it too, so they got time to. Whenever you want to come on, just let me know.
We had,
Want to do it now? What?
Yeah, that one's another interview.
awesome.
How much longer is left on that track?
A minute and a half.
All right. So start to fade in just a few seconds.
All right.
You're hearing a little bit of Don't Follow by the Well-Known Strangers, who I have here in my studio here on Get Real with Ralph. This is our first episode live of Get Real with Ralph. And again, Betsy Abe and the Well-Known Strangers are sitting in. We were just listening to Don't Follow, and they were telling the story of how that song came to be. And it's a pretty exciting song. There was another one that came up that you wanted to tell the story about a little bit, and that was Splinter. So I would love to hear the story behind that one as well. I think people love stories behind music.
Yeah, go ahead.
I should. That's
Yeah,
since I've
let's-
got all the darkness behind
Yeah,
me.
let's get all the darkness out all at once.
So I was married 26 years, and during the latter part of my marriage, my wife and I were ex-wife and I were separated. And then during that time, one of her dear friends really did not want us to get back together. We were working on getting back together, which we did at the time. So I just started to pen some lyrics and some words about that, and then turned it over to Betsy as well. And she just ran with it and turned it into her own. You may have twisted that a little bit into something that works for you.
You guys sound like Fleetwood Mac, except it's not against each other. You ever hear the stories about how they're in the studio and they're looking at the song that just got written, and Lindsay's looking and goes, "Oh, this is about me, isn't it?" I heard that story and I laughed. Have you written any songs about each other yet?
Well, that's funny you asked. I wrote a brand new song on my ukulele, and I only showed Joe.
Can you play it for us tonight?
Oh gosh, no.
No.
No, it's too.
Not ready.
I have some work to do, but I mean, it's a skeleton of a song.
Consummate perfectionist.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with chronic illness, and we had talked about even before his diagnosis, we had talked about people who suffer through learning about that and dealing with grieving and learning how to live with a diagnosis like that, or having somebody in their life that they're very close to having a diagnosis. And so that's a big deal, and it's very close to us. And so it's completely inspired by him and his diagnosis first, but I think it translates in a lot of different situations. So that's kind of a sadder song, but I think it touches upon a lot of important things.
I mean, what's great about music is, while we've written these songs and they mean something to us and whoever writes it or whatever the inspiration was, but as we sit out with the fans and we sit and talk with them and we do storyteller nights, they go, "I had no idea it was about that. I thought it was about this, or it meant this to me, or it meant that to me, or it means this in my life." And that's what is really special. We just write it, and if it it tweaks something special with somebody, that's great.
Yeah, of course. Every time somebody else listens to the song, they're going to find a story in their life that makes them identify with it. And we all have those anthems that we have saved secretly on our playlist that we play in the car when nobody else is around to remind us of who we really are on the inside. You have a whole album full of those kind of songs. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what the next one is. So with that, how about a couple of seconds here of Splinter so we can show people what this is all about? Because again, I think this is, I wouldn't say it's funny as in makes you laugh, but there's some irony in there when you hear it that everybody has been in a situation like this where someone has come between you and other people you love. And this is the best FU song that that I could ever think of to tell somebody who is looking to do that. Splinter. Yeah, it's not hot. Yeah, we can talk.
Could we get these guys?
Yep.
So these two are the newest members of the band.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Most of what you're hearing is not them on the albums.
Got it. Okay, got it.
They're picking up where the other two left off, like in a beautiful way.
And then him from the social media, like you said, just because of the impact that she's had with the changes with the voice and what we've had to do social media wise.
Sure.
If you have time for that.
Yeah, get up close to the mic and we'll jump into that next. Because we got like about 10 minutes to do that, and then we're gonna have, and then you're gonna have to figure out how to get your, if you got to go get stuff set up while they're talking, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Got
right,
it.
yeah. I'll have like a 2-minute break.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's
within there, so give you
We can
guys
figure out
time to
where
get
to
your.
sit.
Yeah.
I'm guessing like you'll need extra space. Like right here is probably good.
I'm glad I picked a musical act for the first one, so that when I don't know what to say, just drop
Okay.
it a song.
We'll figure it
You're
out.
learning already, my friend. That's radio, baby. What can I do to fill more time?
Take calls.
I can.
Dude, what was up with your stalker girl? I had no idea what I walked into on Friday. Holy shit.
I thought my life was.
Oh, that mic is going off, by the way.
Oh, before I even knew that, you thought your life was, before I even walked up there, you thought that. It's weird because I was teasing like, "Oh, are you in my spot?" And I thought she was gonna gouge my eyeballs out.
Okay, so right now people watching YouTube is hearing this conversation.
She what?
Just so you know. So you might, hey, this mic is still hot.
Oh,
Don't forget.
that's okay. I'm on YouTube. I can swear on
Okay,
YouTube.
just so-
I'm on fucking YouTube on this
I
mic.
just
It's
want to
good.
make sure stories don't get out.
It's all right.
I just
Good to know.
I'm protecting you
Anyways,
guys.
yeah. Thank you.
And I can go there. Yeah, if you catch that again, just hit the button.
I'll take care of it.
We don't need it.
That's another button I gotta push. All right, here we go. I'm fading out.
And here we are in the studio with the Well-Known Strangers, and that is one of the songs off of their last album, Aligned Splinter. Since that album and since the Voice, Betsy's appearance on The Voice, you've added a couple of new members to the Well-Known Strangers. So I would love for you to talk about these new members and their roles.
Yeah, sure.
Your cellists here, your bass player, because I tell you what, from what I heard the other night, they were fantastic additions as well.
They're fantastic, absolutely. We had a lead guitarist, an electric guitarist, he left, and then we had a cellist leave. Kind of a little bit before I started this whole voice adventure. So it was kind of good timing, and we got a chance to regroup and look around for some people that would fill in their shoes. And Brittany is a fellow substitute teacher. I'm a substitute teacher by day, and she works at the same school. So one day she came out of the teacher's town, gave me her card, and I looked up her.
I went to that same school, by the way.
Oh, cool. Shout out Tracy.
I sure did, yeah. We used to look at the spine of the books and say Curtis, a strange school.
Curtis Strange.
Curtis A. Strange School. Yeah. So
Isn't that perfect?
Well known.
it is.
They've been quite the family for, I think, both of us. Like,
Yeah.
they're so wonderful over there. So I looked up her music. I showed the boys, and they're like, "We love her." She set up a practice time with Joe, and she came, and she sang this beautiful original song for us, and just completely made herself vulnerable. The first time we sat with each other, and like it was very impressive. And so yeah, this is our newest member, Brittany Lumley, over here. Anyway,
Hi.
Hi, Brittany.
so
What's it like jumping in when it's already hot?
It's been a lot of work, a lot of learning. They have many songs. They've been around for a while, so I've had a lot to learn this past month or so, and I'm still learning.
It's like drinking out of a fire hose, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah, and trying to swim while you're well, you know that you're not swimming very well. Yeah.
Well, you swam very well on Friday night. I have to add.
Thank you. Yeah. Every practice we have, I'm like, yep, I still need to practice. But it's getting better. It's definitely getting better.
So, your first day in your audition, you did one of your originals. You already knew each other, so that probably helped a little bit. What was the strangest thing that you found out about the well-known strangers once you got on the inside?
Actually, our bass player John really surprised me. On the outside, he looks like just a quiet bass player, but once you get to know him, he's got a very strange side to him.
Strange side, John. You're gonna have to elaborate. Is it radio friendly?
Yeah, that sounds weird.
Can we talk about a strange side on the radio, or is that something we're gonna have to save for after the show?
Well, he posts these things publicly on social media, so I don't think it's any secret.
John, tell us about your social media. I want to hear this now.
Should I start out with CW?
yeah, do it.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the strange things when Betsy got on The Voice, being the bass player that the typical bass player that doesn't get any recognition, I imagined a show called The Bass on CW, filmed at the studios in Waukegan. And I went through the journey just as she was going on The Voice. I was kind of replicating the same thing she was doing on this imaginary show. So we had a little bit of fun with that. And I don't know, we didn't exactly explain it to Brittany, so she was probably wondering what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But it's people to this day still think it's real.
That could be a Saturday Night Live skit, seriously, the bass. I mean, I can think of all kinds of ways we could go with that.
So you made a video. You asked my parents to be in, right?
Well, no, your dad asked to be in the video.
Oh.
So just to give you an example,
Shout out to Kenny 8 out there.
Hey,
The Voice Final 24 got to do a commercial for Marshalls and for Toyota. So I took Betsy's dad and we did a commercial for Smart Car with so and then for Dollar General was the other one. So just to give you an idea what the goofiness is all about, that's what
Dollar General sounds more like like the accordion, I think, for Dollar General. That would be Does anybody play the accordion in there out there? No accordion.
No.
I'm sure these guys
I have an accordion actually, but it's stuck in D minor, one of the buttons is stuck down.
Well, you'll be writing some songs in D minor then when you pull it out, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Some more dark tunes for the well-known strangers.
That was Cameron Fair, by the way. He's the second newest. Well, yeah, however you say that. But he's been a wonderful addition as well. Like very laid back, young dude. He's like, he helps us with some social media stuff. He's got the ins and like the shortcuts and stuff. So he's got just a very mild-mannered temperament. Goes with the flow.
Well, that's always helpful. You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. Got to have someone who's setting the table, sweeping the floors. Although I wouldn't call that cello playing that you were doing sweeping the floors. It was something more profound than that. It was just amazing. And I don't think I've ever seen an electric cello like that before either. That thing was cool. What is that?
Oh yeah, that's actually a new cello that I just got. It's an NS electric cello, and it's It's quite different than a regular cello because there's no body to it or like sound box to it. So it looks kind of rather naked, but it looks really cool and it sounds very nice.
It looked really cool. It's like just a stick.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Yeah. I was waiting for those weird sounds to come out of it, like on the hillbilly music, or something like that. But no, you picked it up and you started playing it. And it was beautiful.
Yeah, it sounds very luscious, just like a regular cello. Just it's more convenient for on-stage play because interestingly enough, with regular cellos, the sound boxes they reverberate a lot whenever sound comes back, and so it causes feedback with the system. So that's why they make electric cellos as skinny like that, so they don't feed back into the system. So actually, it's more of like a audio type act that not a lot of people know about.
Oh, it's definitely a cool effect, and you definitely add to the chemistry of the band here. We're going to go into a little break here with a little more well-known strangers, and when we come back, they have agreed to play a tune for us live, a little acoustic set. So they're going to get prepared, and while they're doing that, you're going to hear a little more well-known strangers. This song is also off the Aligned album because we don't have the new one yet, Betsy. Sorry. This one is Mirror. Yep.
We have it for you.
What's that?
We have a signed copy of the new one for you.
Perfect.
Cornerstone Community Church is in lots. I'm going to play a little more of this song coming out of this break, so it's not a cold break.
What is?
WK Strangers on Instagram.
Yep.
You can play this as a bumper.
Not all of them.
More of this as a bumper coming back.
Yep, and just fade right out. Yep.
You tell us when to be quiet, and we'll be quiet.
I'll tell you to shut up in about 10 seconds.
10 seconds, okay.
I won't say shut up.
That's okay if you do. We understand. We're okay. We're ready.
No.
That he pulled it this way and thought.
Here we go, folks. Here we go.
And
And we are back in the studio. You're listening to Get Real with Ralph on 1050 AM WLIP, sponsored by the Success Group.
That's the Aid in the Well-Known Strangers. Did you forget our name?
No, I didn't. Forgot sponsor. Oh yeah, sorry about that. So here we are. Get Real with Ralph. Sorry. Sponsored by the Success Group at EXP Realty in Kenosha, Wisconsin. For all of your real estate needs, get a hold of Ben or Ralph, that's myself, today at 262-656-7171. And we're back with the Well-Known Strangers here in the studio, and they're going to play a little something for us live. Betsy, what are you going to play for us?
We're going to do a Billie Eilish cover called Come Out and Play.
All right, here it is, the Well-Known Strangers, and Come Out and Play.
Wake up, smell the coffee. Is your cup half full or empty? When we talk, you say it's so, but I love it when we're all quiet. Quiet. You see a piece of paper could be a little grave. Show me what you can make. You'll never know until you try it. You don't have to keep quiet. And I know it makes you nervous, but I promise you it's worth it. Sure than everything you've kept inside. Don't hide. Don't hide. Too sharp to say, but I hope you stay. Don't hide. Look out, gotta let it go. See snow, let it in. Leave home, feel the wind. It's cold, put it inside, it's silent. You don't have to keep it quiet. And I know it makes you nervous, but I promise you it's worth it. Sure than everything you've kept inside. Don't hide. Don't hide. Too shy to say, but I hope you stay. Don't
Wow. Okay, wow, wow, that was incredible. It's a beautiful piece.
Thank you.
How long have you been playing
that's
that?
Eilish. I just learned that one. I was really inspired. Like I said, I met a lot of younger contestants out in LA, and one of the contestants, Kendra, she did a bad guy from Billie Eilish, and I just started looking her up and like, man, I'm in love. I'm obsessed with this girl, and I, you know, learned that song, and and, a couple weeks ago we practiced it, and that's the one that we did when we unplugged.
Yes, as soon as I heard it, I recognized it again. It was equally. In fact, that's one of the ones that I actually recorded with my phone, and I think I played a couple of seconds of it on my Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to see some pictures of their performance, I'll put a few more up on my Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Ralph Nudi. And if you want to see the rebroadcast of this show on YouTube, you can go to getrealwithralph.com, subscribe, hit the little notification bell to tell you every time we're dropping a new episode. This getrealwithralph.com takes you directly to our YouTube channel. We are here in the studio today with the well-known strangers, and after the break, we're going to talk about a cause that is very near and dear to the heart of the members of Well-Known Strangers, as well as to me, that I believe most people don't even realize the extent of which this problem exists. So we'll be doing that at the 9 o'clock hour of the show, after the news break. And here's a little more Well-Known Strangers with Revolution.
This will take us to the top.
Yep, perfect.
So we're good. So you guys got 7-8 minutes. Want to get up, get some
So
water.
and then we're gonna after this. So at about 6 after, right?
Yeah, around
and 6 minutes after we'll do voices.
Okay.
And then
so we'll keep our instruments.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. I'll just put them up a little bit.
Cool.
Thank you. Really good.
Yeah, you're doing great.
You're doing all right, man.
Yeah.
When I froze up on my own,
It ain't
I can talk about anything else as soon as I talk about my own company sponsoring my
That's
show.
funny. I heard you. I'm
like, oh shit, what was I gonna say?
I'm going sponsors.
It's always easier to talk about other people than about yourself. Good evening, and you are listening to Get Real with Ralph from the studios of WLIP 1050 AM in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and simulcast via YouTube at getrealwithralph.com. I am your humble host, Ralph Nudi, with a face for radio and a voice for newsprint. And I have in my studio here today the well-known strangers. We spent the first hour of the program talking about their musical journey thus far. And they're going to play one more song for us here. And then we're going to have a discussion about some causes that are near and dear to the hearts of the band members as well as myself. Here are the well-known strangers in the studio live playing voices.
Take care of those nights who fight in the name of creatures, leaders, cowards, they move through the shadows among us, and they won't back down. The killing, the raping, the selling, back breaking. We've got to unite and send out. Oh, tear up the walls, rip through the streets, find those poor souls who never had a choice to speak their voices. Bouncing off the walls of men, wondering if there's anyone out there. Voices stuck in the silence of casual conversations. People love those poor souls who never had a choice to speak their voices. Bouncing off the walls of burning, wondering if there's anyone out there. Voices stuck in the silence of casual conversations. Don't leave it lying there.
Every time I hear that song, I get a little tear in my eye. For those of you listening that have never heard this song before, it's about human trafficking. And 2 years ago, I didn't even really understand that human trafficking existed, at least not at the level that it exists here in the world. And somebody brought an article to me about it, and I read it, and I've been consuming more information on it ever since. And then about 90 days ago, I watched a movie, a documentary on YouTube called Operation Tucson, which is about the group Operation Underground Railroad, which rescues children in foreign countries from human trafficking. It was started by a man by the name of Timothy Ballard, who was former FBI agent, former Department of Homeland Security member, and he started the group when a boy that had gotten kidnapped, who was actually a U.S. citizen but living in Haiti, disappeared, and he found out that there was no way he could turn it into a U.S. case, and there was no way that he could get jurisdiction to go and rescue this child. And the short story is that he quit his job and started this organization to rescue children. But human trafficking comes in so many different forms. It comes in so many different countries. It affects so many different age groups. And one of the facts that nobody realizes is that slavery has been outlawed across the entire world for over 100 years. But there are more people enslaved in the world today than there were when slavery was legal. Think about that for a minute. There are more people in slavery today than there were when slavery was actually legal. And the statistics run somewhere. Do you know what the numbers are on people that are in human slavery altogether? Betsy?
No.
Is it 30?
It was
30?
really profound.
30 million, I thought.
There are
36
30 million
million
people that are enslaved in one way, form, or another. That includes people that are enslaved for debts that they owe, that are in labor camps and everything else. There are 6 million people that are in the sex trade that are enslaved. 2 million of which are children. That's a pretty sobering number. I have here with me the Well-Known Strangers manager. His name is Victor Serra. And Victor is a former police officer, and he's sitting in on this along with Betsy. Betsy, tell me how you came. What inspired you to write this particular song, and how did you become aware of this problem in the first place?
We had a show at Memorial Hall in Racine, and we were asked to play for a benefit that was raising money for the cause, and we wanted to do something, a little more. We started researching what it was all about, and we wanted to do something a little more than just play. So we chose to write a song about all of the things that are going on. And it's hard to put it into one song, 1 3-minute song, because what we've learned was so profound, and it's something that we are continuing to be a part of, and would love to be more involved, because I know it's kind of like it's a hard business to it's a hard thing to fix. And one thing that we've learned while we were researching things to write the song about is the people who are involved, the mostly girls who are involved, get involved and then don't want to come out of it. They have a very comfortable lifestyle, and I think that's one of the hardest parts about fixing a situation like this is they've grown accustomed to a lifestyle that is fine for them, and they don't even realize what they could have in life, and they're happy the way things are. So
and that specifically goes to, I would say, the sex trade in the United States, and the young women that are involved in it. Of course, Victor, you know a lot of statistics about the local area and the I-94 corridor, the area between Chicago and Minnesota, right here, Kenosha. Kenoshans that are listening, listen, we're in the middle of a major hub. Victor, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, at least 2 years ago when we started this, we were asked to play, like Betsy said, at Coalition Against Human Trafficking, and we performed in January 2 years ago. The band did, and they performed that song for the first time. And then a year later, they asked us to come back for another benefit, and we did a video for that song as well. But and I'm probably off beat now with your question.
That's all right. We got plenty of time.
What was the question? Again, I've lost myself.
I was wondering if you could shed some insight into the
corridor,
the I-94 corridor,
that
the
is,
Kenosha Racine area, and how this has become a hotbed for sex trafficking.
And getting back to that, 2 years ago, the FBI spent more money in this area than any other area in the United States, believe it or not.
Wow.
So, and that was a fact that we worked with Carrie Hemmig.
Yeah.
She was the head of the coalition 2 years ago. She's no longer, but she still keeps in touch. Neil Lofi, investigator Lofi, he's with the Racine City Police Department. Neil does incredible work with this organization, and you know, they do raids at truck stops. It's in high schools, and it's in junior high schools. People have to be aware of your children's surroundings. A lot of these people are graduated students, maybe in their 20s, and they go after students that are 15, 14, 16 years old. That might not be the prettiest girl in school, or she's got lowest self-esteem, and they target these girls online, in schools, everywhere. And that's where this starts.
How do you protect your child from that at this age?
Wow. I mean, obviously, you know, you just have to be aware, and it's not always easy, especially the way kids, like you were saying earlier about your 16-year-old. It's not always easy. But being involved, if I had a 14, 15-year-old, I'd be in their face. I'd be knowing what they're doing on the computer all the times. You have to be so involved, almost to, I guess, you know, overprotective.
Yeah.
Thanks, Beth.
And you wouldn't believe how many parents don't agree with that.
No, I understand that.
And I've had to co-parent with the parents that didn't agree with that with my older boys, because we were not together. But we had an incident where one of my sons was definitely having some inappropriate conversations, and when I brought it up, it was almost like I was the bad guy for invading my child's privacy.
Yeah.
That was the answer that I got from his mother, and I don't think that it's out of malice. I really think that people are truly ignorant to what's going on out there, and there's not enough emphasis on the fact that you have to monitor your child's activity.
Especially this day and age, Ralph, you're definitely right. And like I said, there's all kinds of forms of human trafficking, but we're just hitting obviously the sexual part of it, and the sexual exploitation of it. And yeah, it's right in your backyard, people, and you just have to be so aware of it. I've seen it at the end of my career as a police officer in the first 22 or 23 years. We were naive to it. Probably it was out there, but
Sure.
most of the police officers were just naive to it. Over the last few years, I've learned more since I retired from the police department 3 years ago with the band and with stuff we've learned than I was a police officer. I saw it some at the end of my career and started learning about it.
But at large, most of the time when you're looking at prostitution cases, even as recently as 5 years ago, I think that it was being looked at as an individual case, and it wasn't being seen as an epidemic. It wasn't being seen as kids being targeted and dragged into this life. And I think there's a lot more awareness now, but still not nearly enough awareness of that.
Exactly. And Betsy talked about the women that do, or the young girls that do get involved. Some of them, she's right, some of them do want to be, that's their lifestyle. They want that to happen. So when you arrest them, sometimes charges aren't filed because that's what they want to do. But there is a large majority, especially the young boys, that are being exploited. You see stories around the country nonstop now. You're seeing them everywhere. They come out of every state, every jurisdiction. So it's everywhere, and it's an epidemic that it's hard. Like Betsy said, it's hard to put a cap on right now.
I'm married to a school teacher, and it seems after raising, we have 6 altogether between the two of us. I had 3 when we got together, and we've had 3 since. But
busy man,
very busy man. All these years of raising children and being involved with other children, other children's parents, and being involved in education, me being from the community. All of our friends seem to be teachers and cops. It just seems to be how it works. And so I've got a lot of friends in law enforcement, and one of them in particular has a daughter in high school, and he swears by the fact that his daughter still has a flip phone. He doesn't even want her having access to the internet on her person. And I used to think he was crazy. And the more time goes on, the more I see that, the more I think that's really not that bad of a thought. As a matter of fact, it's probably the right way to go to not have your child have access to technology unless it's in a public space. And that's getting harder and harder to do because the personal computer is going away even. And it's even easier. There's more of these apps that these kids, in the beginning, they're talking to each other on, and I'm sure that most of it is purely innocent.
Sure.
When they're 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and then, 13, 14, and they start to get a little more curious. And then there's some evil lurking out there just waiting for them to be curious.
Yes.
Yeah, and they know more about what they're doing than we do as parents.
Sure.
So it's kind of hard to monitor a machine that you don't really know how to, you don't, I mean,
I remember in a presidential debate 2-3 cycles back, maybe longer, because I think it was George W. Bush saying something about putting protective software on our computers if only our children would teach us how to use it.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and that continues to get worse and worse over time. And I consider myself pretty technically astute, at least for a Gen X. But these kids are really ahead of us.
Everybody, sure. So, and going back to the Voices song, which is obviously is a beautifully written song. Joe came up with the riff, and Betsy, they had probably 5 weeks to write the song before the benefit. It was right before Christmas. And Betsy took one of Joe's riffs and she put words to it, and boom, they had a song in less than 2 weeks, and a couple weeks of practice, and they performed it for the first time. A year later, like I said, we did a video, and if people are out there and want to see the video, obviously wellknownstrangers.com, the website, you can watch the Voices video. The band let me run with that video, which was really nice. I kind of came up with the concept, and they just let me go with it. Betsy and I actually directed, but Joe was actually on vacation at the time, so Betsy and I ran with the video, and it was just an amazing thing to do.
very hard, a lot of work. We
Police
had our
chief.
Oh yeah, I got my police chief involved. He gave us police officers to work with at the end of the video. I casted the local actors. Betsy casted friends and family. I was coaching softball at Park High School in Racine, and I used a lot of my softball girls for extras. So it was really neat. And the comical thing of this I want to bring up is that the first video Well Known Strangers did, it cost them almost 10 grand to perform a professional video. And then what is it, 6-8 months later when we did the Voices video, I think it cost us what, $1,200.
Yeah,
sure.
So,
well, because a lot of people were involved that
Yeah.
really cared about what we were talking about. And I mean, I remember shooting at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We went to a motel where there was actually
This
people
sort of
who
thing
were
going
trapped.
on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we kind of shot in
Where was
the thick of it.
Where was the hotel? What town?
It was in Racine. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's the Seekers Hotel in Racine. It was a shady hotel at the time, and we shot outside basically there.
Those little crap holes that are right on Highway 20 there.
Yep.
You could rent them by
Well,
the
this one's
hour.
actually in Racine, more closer to the lake, and a lot of drug use there. I've seen as a police officer. I was called there multiple times in my career. So we used that hotel as the outside shots, but the inside the hotel scenes, we went to a nicer hotel, so we didn't put our actors in there.
You don't want your actors leaving with
Yes.
crustaceans attached to their bodies, just for filming a video.
Yeah, I think our drummer really got into character. He was one of he played a trafficker, and he got maybe a little bit too into character.
Your drummer played a creep?
Well, John did.
So did John.
John.
Yeah.
John,
Our
the bass player, played a creep.
It was a great role. Not yeah.
Because
Wasn't
John's definitely, I can see, with that little smile that is probably fun to play, but John's definitely not a creep. But
No, absolutely not.
hey, there's a song you could do. I know it's a male vocal song, but you could do creep.
Oh yeah.
John's a creep.
So weird. What the hell is he doing here? Sorry, John, you have one of our jokes your first time on. Don't know what to tell
Bass players used to
you. When you're dealing with a subject this heavy, you gotta give it a little bit of levity. Yeah. Well, we're gonna go to the bottom of the break here, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about Operation Underground Railroad and human trafficking when we come back. And here's a little more well-known strangers as we go into the break with a song off of their Aligned album, Release Me. Great, guys. That was great. I knew this was going to go fast when we started talking about this because it's just so much to talk about.
Good job, babe. Hi.
This is awesome.
I gotta get back to the hat.
You want to take calls in the last 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Brave enough to do that?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sometimes you get stuck.
Great. Great.
Back to my bumper. Let's hit that when I'm ready, right?
Let it play a little bit.
And we're back here in the studio at WLIP with the Well-Known Strangers, and we are talking about the subject of human trafficking, which the song Voices, written and played by the Well-Known Strangers, addresses in the studio, along with the actual band members of the band band manager, Victor Serra, who is a former police officer in Racine. And they were talking at the last segment about how they became aware of human trafficking when they were asked to play at a fundraiser for human trafficking. And so it's amazing how once this subject grabs a hold of you and you learn about it, or the more you learn about it, how much more deeply it affects you. And when I first started hearing about teenagers and mostly teenage girls getting sucked in, that was devastating to hear. I have daughters, I have kids. And then I got exposed to this documentary called Operation Toussaint. And I think that anybody that wants to know more about the subject should watch it. It is on Amazon Prime, and there's a couple of other places that you can get this documentary, this Operation Toussaint, that's Toussaint, Operation Toussaint. It's well worth your time. If you look it up on YouTube, there's a couple of trailers for it. If you go to Amazon Prime, you can watch the entire, I want to say it's probably about a 75-minute documentary. But it was the story about Tim Ballard and how he started this organization. And the cases were just devastating. This particular documentary highlights their operation in Haiti, where they were rescuing children 3, 4, 5 years old, that after the devastation of the hurricane in the area and left just countless families displaced and lots of children homeless, all these rings came around and just rounded up these children and literally brought them into camps and held them as slaves and sold them as sex slaves. And the reason that they're able to do this, the reason that they are making money doing this, isn't because other Haitians want to have this sort of sick interaction with the child. It's because Americans want to have this sort of sick interaction with the child. Wealthy Americans, people with money, apparently too much money to do anything they want, that decide to take these trips to foreign countries where they get to rape and torture children for a fee. And I just can't even imagine how anybody with an ounce of humanity can do this. And yet you have people who are in regular walks of life, you know, the real creeps of the world, that when you're working next to them, you don't even know they're a creep. You know, this makes Harvey Weinstein seem like a altar boy. That's probably a bad way of putting it. But seriously, these people are disgusting. And this operation went in, and they had to pose as these creepy fellows and start talking about what it is that they wanted. And this is all captured. You can see these people having conversations with these Haitians who are just willing and ready to provide them with what they want for the fee. And it literally broke my heart.
Yeah. The problem with this, Ralph, and the whole thing is these third world countries don't have, for these children, they have no protection or no help. So this organization is about it for them. And that's pretty sad, because these governments are protecting these children and it's tough. It's just tough. At least in America, we have the money and the resources to at least try. Over there, they'd have nothing.
They have nothing. So they got volunteer operations that, first of all, have to raise enough money to send these jump teams in. And these operations are not cheap. I imagine it has to be hundreds of thousands of dollars for each operation. You know, you're getting former SEALs, former law enforcement, people that have really good credentials and know how to run operations like that. Then you have former State Department officials that are working with these foreign governments, getting permission for United States citizens who are mere civilians to operate in their country with weapons. And I'm sure people are getting paid off, and bribes have to get paid in some cases for that to happen. They're not going to say that on a documentary, but you know, that goes without saying, that they're going to grease whatever palms they have to grease. After all, that's what the bad guys are doing, and sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. That's something you can't do in an official government capacity that you can do with that. So it takes an inordinate amount of money to run this operation to rescue these children, but they're doing a fantastic job of doing it. And once I saw this, it changed. Just watching that video changed my life forever. And I knew that if I don't get involved, if I don't find a way to raise money, if I don't find a way to actually help them rescue these children, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life, because I know there's children out there suffering. And if my efforts can save one of them or 5 of them or 10 of them, and as opposed to 0 of them, I don't care how much money that costs. It's worth, you know, one life is worth that kind of money.
Yeah, and I think you asked a question earlier, like, what do you do? And when we talk about the song Voices, like, we get this question a lot, like, what do you do? What can you tell other people to do? It's really just talking about it and making people aware and doing exactly conversations and continuing. And from this, maybe we can, get a little more involved.
I'd like to do something together. I'd like to do something together. I was thinking about this and I was going to ask you, and now I'm going to ambush you with it. But I'd like to put together a concert, a fundraiser concert, specifically to raise funds for Operation Toussaint, because I know what they're doing. I know it's good work. I know that we're funding teams that are going in and actually rescuing children. And sometime here in the fall, I don't have an exact date, but I would love for you guys to come back, play for that. Who knows, maybe you can even put your creative juices together and come up with another storytelling song that tells the story of these children in need as well. But if you'd be interested in that, I'll get my people on it to put the legwork together to have a charity concert specifically for putting together teams to go and rescue children from human trafficking. You in?
Absolutely.
Yes, anything that we can do. I think that we stand by our word when we say there's other benefits that we play for because we believe in the cause and we want to continue to do as much as we can. So any way we can help.
That's fantastic. And we're going to talk more after the show for sure, because it takes a lot of logistics. I know, and you guys know about putting something like it together. But I'm willing to do the heavy lifting while you guys are going on tour, building your brand bigger. Because the bigger your brand gets, the more people are going to come watch this, and the more people that we can make aware of this. If you do know of a human trafficking situation here in southeastern Wisconsin, there is a hotline. The phone number is 888-373-7888. Again, that number is 888-373-7888. If you know of a situation where somebody is being trafficked, where somebody is being forced to be in the sex trade against their will, or any other sort of human trafficking.
Ralph, I just want to throw in there, a lot of people are leery sometimes to call the police if they see something, especially at these truck stops.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Call. Just call. Let them officers go out and check out the situation. Sometimes if you don't call, that could be a situation where you could have saved someone's life.
Yeah, we've been saying this about terrorism for a long time, and now we're talking about it with human trafficking. If you see something, say something. Call your local police department. Call that hotline. I'll make sure that I have that number on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Ralph Nudi. You can go and like that page, or you can go to my YouTube channel just by going to getrealwithralph.com and hit subscribe. And this episode is going to be on there in the comments. I'll make sure that that number is there as well, because this is a very important cause here, Operation Toussaint. Now, when we come back after the break here, we're going to take some of your calls. If you have any questions for Betsy and the well-known strangers, you can call on in and we'll try and get a couple of questions answered. If you want to call in, the phone number is area code 262-694-1050. It can be about human trafficking. It can be about the band, anything that we discussed in the last 2 hours. That's 262-694-1050. We'll take your calls after the break.
Wasn't ready for that.
Here, and can you guys plug
Sorry, did I get you too
upcoming
quick on this?
Yeah,
Pride Fest show? Betsy throwing out first pitch, and can we do that, Ralph?
Bro?
Can we plug Betsy throwing out the first pitch Wednesday and playing at Pride Fest?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's the Ruther Auditorium.
Which
Yeah,
is related to
it is.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is so that I don't screw it up, I'm going to say, you got a couple of events coming up. Tell us what you're doing. Then tell us what you're doing. Sound good? Sorry about that.
That's all right. I just, yeah. Here.
Sunday, June 16th, at Tickets are on sale now at Ravinia.org. For a chance to win tickets from WLIP, listen to Wake Up Kenosha with Dylan Beats, and on site at Lighting Up events with Lenny Moore, the music of Peter Paul Bear, with Peter Yarrow and Noel Paul Snooki at Ravinia.
Too many buttons.
Yeah.
This is
Whenever you're ready.
That's the Well-Known Strangers with Runaway Girl off of their Aligned album, and they are here in the studio where they have graced our presence for the last hour and 45 minutes on my first ever live radio show. Guys, thank you for bearing with me and all of my technical difficulties and tripping over my feet.
You're perfect.
Oh, it's all
so
good.
well.
Oh, we
It's great.
Yeah, Ralph.
You know what? I had a mic off when you told me I was perfect. Isn't that?
You're perfect. I'll say it a million times.
Oh, I love it. I love
Great.
it.
It's been fun.
I love it, and I love you, Betsy. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks, man. I love you too.
I love your energy. You got a couple of events coming up that you're going to be doing. You're going to be throwing out the first pitch at the Brewer game, correct?
Yep, that's right. That's this Wednesday. I think like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
6:30?
Or 6:30.
Yeah.
That's when the first pitch is thrown. I'm not sure how much to do. I still have yet to practice.
You need to practice. Make sure you make it across the plate. You know,
Across
I mean,
the
I know you
plate,
played.
at
I know you
least.
played
She's
softball.
got a
so-
serious arm.
I did, yeah. But you never know with all that pressure.
Full
It's gonna
disclosure,
happen.
Betsy played high school softball with my little sister back in the day. I didn't know you back then, but Deanna. So I hope she's listening.
Yes, I love you.
She's on Twin Lakes. I don't know if we bounced off that far. Hey, anybody have questions? You can call in 262-694-1050. Any questions for Betsy 8 and the Well-Known Strangers? And while we're waiting for the
We have a
phones
caller.
here,
We have-
which we do have a caller already. Hey, go ahead. You're on 1050 WLIP. Get real with Ralph.
That's our drummer.
You're getting
He had
punched
to
by
get
your own
in.
drummer.
We knew, yeah, Roger, we knew you'd find your way to us somehow. I'm glad you're here on the line with us.
So Roger wasn't able to make it in the studio. He had a previous engagement. But Roger, this is quite the cast of characters you're involved with, buddy.
We love you, Roger.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for calling in. Looks
And
like
we're
we
out of time.
Well, we do have another call, Roger, but we'll come back to you. But hey,
He's got a
but
question.
I do want to talk more about you playing one of the creepy truck drivers next time we get a chance to talk.
In our voices video.
All right, we got another call coming in, so we're going to take it. You're on 1050 WLIP on Get Real with Ralph. Who am I talking to? Name and town. Ah, hi, Shelly from
Hi,
Kenosha.
Shelly.
Hey, Shelly. Hey.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Full
thank
disclosure, this is my aunt, and it's almost like having David Letterman call his mom. You know, it's like, she's like
Just as important.
she's like a second mom to me. Oh my God! Thank you for
Oh,
calling in.
So sweet.
So now both of our listeners have called in. It's really exciting.
Well, we
Well
had
stated.
a fantastic time talking with him. So, and he makes it easy. Oh, nice. Did you see Joe flip me off? Did you see Joe flip me off? Did you see that? Oh, okay.
It's the playful side, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
you watch parolees, pit bulls and parolees? Have you seen that? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Good for you.
You can cut her off anytime. Too. Yeah, getting involved in individual cases really warms your heart and puts you in a place where you really feel like you're making a difference. And thank you so much for calling in. I want to grab a couple of other callers. We got one more coming in here on line one. Let's grab this real quick. You're on 1050 WLIP. Get Real with Ralph. Who am I talking with? Name and town. Clear-Eyed Otis. And where are you from, Clear-Eyed Otis? We're aware. Yeah, we're very aware. That's why we're working so hard to raise money and raise awareness and actually help specific cases where we can actually make a difference. Hey, if you're interested in helping us with this, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. There's going to be some information on there on how to get involved, because we need all the community involvement that we can get in order to help eradicate this problem.
And can I just say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we have to attack it. We have to attack it at the source of funds for sure. We have to get to the point that when people are willing to pay money for this, they're suffering the same consequences as the person who actually went out and kidnapped a child. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're facilitating that happening when you spend your money on that. And we need to bring a lot more awareness to the fact that when you're spending your money on doing something like that, even if you think that it is harmless or innocent or that it is an adult, chances are it's not. Chances are if it is an adult, it's somebody who was enslaved as a child and doesn't have a choice. When you're visiting one of those Mexican cantinas, when you're visiting one of those Asian massage parlors, when you're visiting any of those places out there, if anybody's doing anything like that, it's not just a two consenting adults decision, which is what people say in their minds to justify this sort of thing. What you're really doing is you are contributing to a problem that includes kidnapping, torturing, and raping children. And well, do you know how to get attention? Here's how we get attention: money and vote. Those are the two ways: money and vote. Hey, thanks. And truth to power. Hey, thanks very much for calling. We really appreciate it. Again, make sure that you head over to our site, and you'll be able to sign up for more information, or you'll be able to find information on how to get involved, because we're going to be putting that up there. And Betsy and I just made a little pact here. We're going to organize an event here in southeastern Wisconsin to get Operation Toussaint some more money so that they can rescue some more children from this horrendous crime of child sex trafficking that's going on, not just in this country, but all over the world.
And if I may interrupt, we have one more benefit that we're very
proud yes, the
McKay Foundation.
Correct.
A benefit at Luther High School. on June 22nd, right? Same.
Got it.
Okay.
And you're gonna want to go on
We're
brown,
gonna-
was it brownpaperticket.com?
Yeah.
Tickets for it?
Yes, if you go to our event page, you'll have a link to that.
Okay.
And 1,000 people are interested in it so far on Facebook, but
I was on today and section, the most expensive section is almost completely sold out. There are 9 tickets left.
so if you want to get tickets, I
So if
would
you want good
do
seats,
that
yeah,
now.
go buy tickets. It's not an expensive event and it's a fantastic, fantastic band. If you haven't heard the Well-Known Strangers play live, you're in for a treat. If you haven't heard their music before and you just heard bits and pieces of it, go to YouTube, just look up Well-Known Strangers or Betsy 8 and the Well-Known Strangers, and you will be absolutely as impressed, I'm sure, as I was the first time I heard their music.
Oh.
You guys are fantastic. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, well, thank you. We feel the same about you. We hope to visit you again.
Well, thanks for coming. We're going to take a little break here, and then we're going to sign off.
No, we're going to play voices.
Oh, we're going to play voices.
Up to the top of the hour. We got 5
and
minutes
then
left.
we're going to sign off. So
Yeah.
this is Ralph Nudi.
All right.
Get real with Ralph. My producer's more experienced than me.
Ha!
He's telling me what to do. I'm just putting the words out there. So thank you very much, Mr. Selovich, Mr. Jim Selovich, for being the man behind the board on my first ever episode of Get Real with Ralph. Tune in every Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m., where we're going to talk about the issues of the day that affect us globally, nationally, and across the world. Get Real with Ralph. This is Ralph Nudi, and thanks for tuning in.
This will take us right to the top. We're done.
It's a wrap. Oh my God,
All right.
guys.
All right.